Beginning my speech in 3, 2, 1. Honorable judges, we have to understand that cultural traditions have to be guaranteed to be preserved even at the cost of slowing social progress. We agree that preservation of cultural customs, traditions, and diversions should be prioritized. On government bench, though, we are not against the progress. We are against the destruction of identity of the indigenous autonomy in the name of modernization. But clearly, the opposition has failed to frame this problem. In the status quo, most part of the world or culturally evaluated region, there's likely to exist a complex system that attached to their social life and is binding their economy, legal systems, and identity systems. It is unjustified to take over their land ownership or their ownership presentation of or other than that in the name of social progress. Let's contextualize what is the definition of social progress in our side regarding the harsh perception on the opposition side. 1. Social progress means there is an elevation or improvement in life's quality. Society that live in one certain region has their own system that's fundamental, absolute, and is equal or fair to everyone involved in it. And as mentioned in the motion of this debate, we need a custom preservation because to symbolize the againstment of this harsh regulation. Collective land ownership is important because in the status quo, land belongs to the clan or community and nobody can individually sell ancestral land in indigenous community because indigenous community are vulnerable when land become privatized. Now the last point I've mentioned will brings us to my second point. What happens under individual ownership exactly? In reality, when land becomes individually owned, richer outsiders can buy the land, and what happens after that, judges? They will pressure poorer villagers to adjust with the economic-oriented system that is forced in the land, and they will become fragmented. On the other side, outsiders will dominate the economy, and on the other side, though, the indigenous people will lose their territorial power inherently, and in fact, this has happened a lot of times historically, for example, indigenous groups in Latin America or the Aboriginal community. And second, why collective ownership guarantees the protection or the solution of this problem that I've mentioned before, because it prevents exploitation, where indigenous people will have their own authority or to run the economy or to fulfill their daily life need, and also they know well how to keep sources in that certain region shared, and they can also ensure future generations can inherit their land. And most importantly, in modern economic agreement, in reality, they often cross the limit in environmental metrics, and it often ended with the land or environment getting destructed. And how is that possible? Because they have this big authority, they control the economy, and it often galvanize their satisfaction to even gain more profit from the land. And our stance now is simple. We keep the rumah ada system because society should not happen social progress should not happen through forced assimilation that erases indigenous identity. That will bring us to my first argument. Culture is not only an aesthetic, it's part of the people's survival. The opposition will frame culture as merely rituals or traditions, but for indigenous communities like Kairan, culture is an entire governance system that regulates land, conflict resolution, and social responsibility, and also it becomes the community identity. When you dismantle systems like collective land ownership, land will become vulnerable to privatization, and corporations can buy ancestral territories, which can lead to assaultment for the tradition itself. Eventually, the community will likely lose both economic security and cultural security. On the other hand, the rumah ada system prevents exploitation because in ensuring the land remains communal and protected for future generation. This matters especially because indigenous community historically lose power when exposed too quickly to a capitalist system they were never prepared for. So preserving tradition here is actually protecting vulnerable communities from exploitation. This will get to my first layer of analysis. For the indigenous community, culture is an entire governance system that regulates a lot of aspects that stabilize their social life. So when outsiders dismantle the cultural system, they also, where they are not only changing tradition, they will also destabilize the entire social structure of community. Get to my second layer of argument, privatization means land becomes a market commodity, whereas previously land belongs to the community and it could not easily leave indigenous control. And this will drastically change or discourage the indigenous community after outsiders reach and will sell their land and gain profit from it. My second argument is rapid modernization often creates cultural erasure. Just as history repeatedly proves that forced integration into mainstream or modern or the revolutionized system often destroy minority cultures. When young people are encouraged to leave from the region, from where they live, to leave immediately to urban areas for education or to career, native language will be forgotten, and because they have entered the melting pot to the area where modernized area or where cultural diversion is nowhere to be found, and oral histories vanish, and most importantly, younger generations become disconnected from their roots. The mandatory cultural apprentice is important because it ensures that before entering the modern world, young people still understand who they are, where they come from, and what responsibilities they have over toward the community. Get to my analysis is without this system, modernization becomes assimilation. One, assimilation is not liberation when people are pressured to abandon their identity in order to survive economically. And second, a society that sacrifices every tradition for efficiency eventually becomes culturally empty. Move to my third argument, communities deserve self-determination. The Kairan people should save the right to determine their own pace of change. The reforms are largely pushed because the reforms are likely pushed by the national government, urban activists, and also outsiders who may not fully understand the indigenous realities. Imposing internal values, external values in the name of progress can become another form of cultural domination. Government believes that genuine justice includes respecting indigenous autonomy, even when their system differ from urban liberal norms. Not every society must develop in the exact same way or the same speed. They have their own pace to maintain social stability and to adjust with their need life norms without any societal pressure. Pluralism means allowing communities to preserve unique structures as long as they continue functioning social stability. And in this debate, we must ask what true progress if it destroys the people it claims to be helped. Economic stability is not only one to indicate social progress, neither the privatization way or the modern way. This way we're so and why is this exclusive? Because it saves both society and structural or the economic structural, and that's why we're so proud to propose.